Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unlimited, episode 81. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week is...
Michael Powers? But wait, wasn't last week episode 81? Are we sure this is 81?
Yeah, this is 81.
Oh, okay.
Last week was 80.
Okay, I feel like...
I'm looking at the episode post so I can check the file name.
Okay, I was just trying to make sure because for some reason I feel like it's a small case of deja vu. Ugh. It's been a long day. I've been up since 5:30.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, what's been new?
In the last week, not a whole lot. Got one step closer towards moving into our new home. We had the appraisal for our current home on Wednesday. So if all goes right with that, then everything heads to underwriting. And as you know, Steve, that's when they ask you for a bunch more paperwork. But it's like
the annoying part.
Yeah, it's like the last step before you get the keys to your new castle. My house is like full of boxes right now. The wife is all ready to move out, like at a moment's notice. So that's been fun. I did dive into... I recently picked up the Devil May Cry Definitive Edition on the PS4, which is like an HD-er remake of a game that came out 2 years ago on the PS3. The PS3 version was like 720p, 30 frames a second, and the PS4 version, and by extension the Xbox One version, so no one calls me a fanboy, runs at 1080p, 60 frames a second.
Okay.
Now I did play it when it was on the PS3. I enjoyed it a lot, which is one of the reasons why I was like, hey, I'll play that again. And also because there isn't a whole lot to play right now. So I was like, I'll play that because it was fun. It is. I'm enjoying it. Also spent some time playing a couple of other games. Counter Spy, which is like it's a 2D side-scrolling, or 2.5D side-scrolling. The art style is kind of Incredible-esque. And you're a spy who, the agency you work for is called Counter, and it's set during the Cold War, except instead of trying to blow each other up, the US and Russia trying to blow up each other, they're trying to blow up the moon. So basically what you do is you can take missions against the US or you can take missions against Russia, and you're trying to keep the DEFCON from reaching DEFCON 1. Now what's interesting is it's not one DEFCON for both sides. Each side has their own DEFCON level. So
cool.
Each time you die in a level, the DEFCON goes up by 1. The only way to lower your DEFCON is to have a special formula or perk that at the beginning of each mission automatically lowers the DEFCON by 1. Or there are officers in each level that instead of shooting and killing, you can force them to surrender and they'll lower the DEFCON level. Otherwise, the DEFCON level is static. It will really only go up if you fail.
Okay.
So let's say you take all your missions on the American side, and you reach DEFCON level 1. Well, if you're on DEFCON level 1, and you fail that, it's game over. You don't get to go over and just start the Russian missions. It's game over. You have to start all the way over, all the way at the beginning. So what you can do is you can jump over to the Russian side and basically kind of start over. So you get you can mess around over there, but if that one goes to DEFCON level 1, then you're SOL. You have to choose one side or the other, and stuff like that. Now, what's really neat is when you're collecting a set of mission, secret documents. Each mission has a certain number of secret documents ranging from like 1 to 4, and they're documents pertaining to the various stages of planning in this attack on the moon. And there's one progress bar for the entire game, because each side has the exact same files. So, you get, one side, that mission might have 3 files, but the American side might have like 4. So, do I want to risk it and get the one that's got the 4, or the one that's got 3 and not get through it as fast? But what happens is once you get all the documents, then it puts you in this kind of dilemma, because there's a final mission and it chooses whichever side has the higher DEFCON level. That's like automatically, that's the side that you have to perform the final mission on. But before you do the final mission, you can keep replaying the levels to lower the DEFCON level. But at any time, if you fail, like if you hit DEFCON 1 and you fail, then it's like game over. You have to start all over again. So it's like, do I risk just doing the last level on DEFCON 1, or do I keep playing and lower the DEFCON level to 5 for, the US and Russia, and then do the final mission? So it's been a lot of fun. I played it both on the Vita and my PS4. It was like a free game with PlayStation Plus. So
doesn't sound like a bad game for free though.
No,
normally free games aren't all that intriguing.
Well, like I said, it was free with PlayStation Plus. I think by itself it was like $15.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
No, and I've really enjoyed it. And the levels are randomly generated, so like when you get a game over and you start again, it won't be the same like playthrough. That said, if you get to the end, like I was talking, and you just keep replaying the levels to lower your DEFCON level, you'll start to realize that the sections in the levels are what's randomly generated, not the entire level. So like you'll walk into a room and you'd be like, oh, I've been in this room before, but it was like,
flip-flopped around.
Like 3 sections earlier, because it's like it gives you like a Metroidvania style map to show you how far you are through the level, or through a mission. So like, this particular room might have been the first room in another mission, but it's now like the 4th room in this mission. So, but I've had a lot of fun with it. Other than that, my wife and I have been continuing our rewatch of the Marvel movies in the lead up to Age of Ultron.
How's that been going?
Pretty good. I don't have Incredible Hulk, so we won't be able to watch that. We've made it through Iron Man 2 so far, which we started with Captain America, then we did Iron Man and Iron Man 2. Next up is Thor, and then Avengers. I have to wade through 2 movies that are kind of ho-hum to me. But I've talked about my opinion on all the Marvel stuff ad nauseum before, both here and I believe a little bit on Off the Cuff as well. So that's kind of pointless to talk about now.
Yeah.
That said, I am looking forward to Age of Ultron, but I've only seen the 1 trailer. So
I have seen the latest one. It does show quite a bit more. But, I only watched it once, and it was impressive. I can't remember exactly all the stuff that happens, but some of it was rehashed from the previous one, and then some of it was a little bit new.
What turned me off from, besides the fact that I made the conscious decision to go on a media blackout after the first trailer, and I have seen the extended version of the first trailer too. So, I went on a media blackout after that. But the one thing that really turned me off from, checking it out was the image that everybody was putting in their web articles to say like, here's the new trailer for Age of Ultron, which was that side shot of all the Avengers jumping through the trees. And that shot just is nails on a chalkboard to me. It looks so bad. I like that kind of thing works in a comic book, but I was just like, oh wow. So
It looked too Matrixy to me.
I mean, obviously it's a shot out of context, so we'll have to see how it plays out in the actual movie. But I was just kind of like, oh, that's okay. That's whatever. So we'll see. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited to catch the movie too. I can honestly say I enjoy the Marvel movies a lot more than DC. Although that may change when Batman v Superman comes out.
Is there a differentiation between enjoy and just being a better movie? Like, I enjoy the Marvel movies, but I think DC makes. I think the DC ones are better films. I don't know. I feel like this is like a can of worms just waiting to be opened up.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's kind
people.
of one of those things. I don't really know. I mean, I enjoy both sets. It's just I find that like the Nolan films, The Dark Knight itself, The Dark Knight, I can watch that one more than I can watch the other two. However, I didn't much care for Man of Steel, and it had nothing to do with the fact that Superman cracked the guy's neck, or cracked Zod's neck. I didn't really care either way on that. Because, again, it was kind of an introduction for him for once. But it's more so I just didn't care for the story. It wasn't necessarily that it was a bad film, because I think they were really well done and kind of gritty. I think what Marvel brings, though, is they bring a lot more light to their films, which I think makes it, I guess, kind of in a sense more aesthetically pleasing to the eye, which is probably why it's enjoyed more or viewed as a better film for the most part from a lot of people.
I can get behind
that. Whereas DC, it's all dark, gritty, and then, you know, a lot of the details are hidden in the, you know, in the gray in the background. So it's kind of like you really have to be kind of searching for it, and you kind of have to look beyond that to see the film, what the film actually is. So I mean, there's some aspects of either side that I really think are better films, but I'm not saying that either one's perfect, but I think that Marvel just kind of has more of a record in that department, except for the fact that, just like DC, they keep rebooting some of them.
See, I like the... I talked about this a little bit on Twitter like a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks now or something like that. Because everyone's making a big deal out of all these... or everyone has made a big deal about all these casting rumors that DC has done. Like the latest one is the Green Lantern one, with Chris Pine being up for Green Lantern, which, no.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement.
But I feel like... Well, let me back this up here real quick. I recently watched the latest Justice League animated movies. Was it Throne of Atlantis?
Yep.
And the one right before that, which was...
Where Cyborg was created.
Yeah.
And they're fighting Apocalypse.
But what's the name of that one? Is that... Anyways... I
don't know what it's called, but it's Justice League something.
I got it right here. Justice League War.
Okay. And then there's Flashpoint Paradox too.
Yeah, but well, Paradox like led up to these two movies. I feel like if this is these two movies, Throne of Atlantis and War, if that's where DC is planning to go with their live action movies, like for their Justice League movies, and even if Batman versus Superman, let's just say, because Batman versus Superman has you know, it's got Wonder Woman in it. It has the actor for Cyborg at the very least. um, if it goes for that Justice League war in Batman versus Superman, and then Throne of Atlantis ends up being, Justice League Part 1 or Part 2, if that's the stories that they're aiming to tell or they think they can do in live action, then I'm all for it. That said, the whole casting thing, everyone made a big deal about all these characters showing up in Batman versus Superman, and they've got Aquaman cast, and they showed off what he looks like, and he's not going to have his own movie for like another 2 years. Same with like Wonder Woman and Cyborg, and now Green Lantern's going to have his own movie again. Blah 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 blah. I feel like DC signing all these actors to play these roles is a good idea on their part, because I feel like it's a lot easier to sign an actor to a contract and then let's say a movie flops and just like cancel the contract versus having to renegotiate a successful contract. Like, take for example what Marvel is running into with like Robert Downey Jr. Like, the amount of money that he gets for being in any one movie is more than
any of the other cast put together.
Yeah, exactly. And that's expensive. Not that those movies don't make money or he doesn't deserve that stuff, but that's an expensive guy, and he basically gets to renegotiate his contract every single time he shows up in a movie now. And then you have the issue where James Rhodes, who was played by Terrence Howard in Iron Man and then replaced by Don Cheadle in Iron Man 2 and 3, like, you run into that situation by not, locking that actor into, a multiple picture deal. Now, granted, I didn't like Terrence Howard. I like Don Cheadle more. So
yeah, I agree. I like the acting a lot better too.
So that worked out in their favor. But another big one is like Howard Stark. Like, Howard Stark that's in Iron Man and Iron Man 2 is like 3 feet taller than Dominic Cooper.
Wasn't he the one that was in Captain America?
Yeah.
Dominic Cooper, I mean?
Yep. Dominic Cooper has been Howard Stark since Captain America. But the guy that they got to play him in, I believe he showed up in Iron Man, but the guy that they got to play him in Iron Man 2 is like, and this is an exaggeration, is like 2 or 3 feet taller than Dominic Cooper is. So it's like, they didn't get the same guy, and I get that he was supposed to be younger because he was in Captain America, but you run into that kind of situation. I don't see how Dominic Cooper becomes the guy that we saw in Iron Man 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, you run into those kind of issues if you're not casting, if you're not taking the big picture. I think what DC did is they've learned lessons that Marvel, they've learned the lessons. They saw what Marvel had to go through, and they're trying to make sure that they don't have to go through that same stuff. And I think it just works out in their favor for them to go like, okay, this guy's going to be this person, and this one's going to be that, and that, and that, and that. And they have all these guys like pre-signed to multi-picture deals versus, having to negotiate someone's contract after one movie and getting all these roles filled, these crucial roles filled.
Well, it means that they get to universe build and write all these films back to back, but not have to film them all back to back and worry about casting everybody.
Yep. So
whereas Marvel's having to do that, and then especially with the addition of like Spider-Man again in there now, and certain aspects of that, because now they're having to play with how that dynamic works in there.
Right. But I mean, Marvel does fine. I mean, Marvel hasn't suffered from any of this in any way. I'm just saying, I think that they learned from, they saw what Marvel had to go through, and they're just taking steps to not have to go through those same growing pains. of course, the line from a movie that jumps into my head is the line from Jurassic Park from Ian Malcolm, where he says, "You stood on the shoulders of geniuses, and you didn't think about." I don't know. I'm butchering this line, but it's like you didn't think about whether or not you should. You just went ahead and did it. So it's kind of that whole thing. But I applaud them for, yeah, it seems like a lot of overexposure and stuff that we're not used to seeing, like this far out. But I think they're taking the right approach. I think we're going to get something special. And if Marvel has the lighthearted, full color spectrum comic book thing, locked down, then Marvel going for the gritty, that's, or DC going for the gritty, that's fine with me. I would rather have two different versions of comic book movies than one.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what have you been up to, Steve?
I've been playing Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Tenkaichi on the 360, which I enjoy it, and I enjoyed like the hero mode and some of the other elements of the game. Just some of the stuff that kind of bothers me with it is, one, I can't use a Super Saiyan 4 character of Goku or Vegeta, other than their fused form. I did figure out the other day by plugging in my second controller, because I was trying to do training mode, but they don't let you do more than one character in the lineup. Like if you do battle mode, you can do either 1-on-1 or you can do 5-on-5 with a tag team element. So you get like a fraction of the health of each character if you do the tag team thing. And so what I was doing is, instead of choosing, because normally what I do is I choose like their fused forms, because you can play as those, or you can choose to actually fuse into them. I would choose all of the characters that could fuse together, and they're the same way you can go from their lowest power level to their highest power level. You can do the fuse, and I was doing it to try and see if I could in the game, when, to see how quick it would take me to do it, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't actually get it down while somebody's attacking me, so I was trying to figure it out with my other controller plugged in and characters punched in. So I figured out I could do it, and then I played the round again with the actual computer, and if you do the fusion, it actually doubles your health because it combines the two characters into one character. So it makes you last longer with the one character. So I actually blew through the entire enemy tagged 5 group with just the one fused character. So it was kind of nice. I enjoy the game overall. I think that I enjoy the older ones that were out on the PS2 better, because that was the last time I played a Dragon Ball Z game, was when I had a PlayStation 2.
I think that was the last time I've seen a Dragon Ball Z game.
I mean, they've continuously come out. This is just the first one I've actually splurged on in ages, because I bought it for like $30. And I think I had Ultimate Tenkaichi 2. Or not Ultimate Tenkaichi 2. What? I forget what the hell these games are called. They all start to run together after a while because they're all the same names. I had... Wow, it's been a while. I had Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Which came out in 2007. That was the last time I played a Dragon Ball Z game. All the ones since then I didn't care for when I played demos of them, and then this one's actually from 2011, which is actually surprising because it's older than the Kinect one, which I had wanted no part of. And then they have the Budokai HD collection, which is just Budokai 1 and 3, and they're upgraded graphics slightly, but it's still, I've already played the game, so I had no intention of playing it again because I didn't like the mechanisms of the game. Xenoverse is like the newest one that just came out for just about every system. I just haven't picked it up yet.
Do you plan on picking it up? Okay.
I'm thinking so. I'm just waiting a little bit. But I do have interest in getting it.
If anyone's hearing weird noises, that's my dog sitting next to me making weird noises. I
Nice.
apologize if the microphone's picking any of that up.
I don't think so. But yeah, I'm thinking about picking up Xenoverse. I'm just reading a little bit about it first. I know it's on the PS3, 4, and 360, and the Xbox One and PC. I may try. I don't know if they even do demos anymore, but I was going to say if they do, I was going to try it on Windows,
What?
or I might run it.
I haven't seen a demo in a long time.
I kind of wish that they still did that, only just to kind of get the taste of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I don't. I mean, like I may pirate my TV shows, and back in the day I did pirate games, but then it kind of got to the point I was like fighting with the game to get it to play all the time, and I just kind of resulted in my own mind that it was easier just to buy the damn game. But I kind of don't really want to spend the money if I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy it, so I kind of miss the days of the demos.
Right.
Because then at least I could get a feel for what the game is going to be and tell if I'm actually going to waste my money or not. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd still play it because I spent the money on it, but I'd rather not have to be forced to play a game because I've spent money on it.
Oh, man. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, and I may actually, because 3DS games are cheaper, I may try some 3DS games of Dragon Ball because they have Dragon Ball Heroes for that.
Okay.
So I might try that out, but I'm not sure yet. I enjoy the fighting games of Dragon Ball Z. I don't pick them up very often. I will have Mass Effect sometime by the end of the month or early next month.
I have that.
Because Michael Dodd is sending it to me. He says I must experience Commander Shepard. So
that is a game that I bought because I bought it before Mass Effect 2 was coming out because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try playing this game. And just like Fallout and Fallout New Vegas and all those other giant RPGs, I could not play it. I found myself overwhelmed really fast. So I was like, nope. I took all the time to create my character and everything, and I played it for like an hour, and I was like, nope, can't do it.
I hope that I can figure it out, like all these games, because I'm not sure what else he's sending me, but I know that he's sending me a couple of games, and I'm being that my limited experience with gaming in the next gen console area, like I mean I've pretty much played, you know, like Dragon Ball Z, Unreal Tournament 3, which is the last shooter that I actually paid for, which that's 2007. And then like the Arkham games. I mean, I really don't get that many games, and I've gotten a couple of the newer Transformer games like War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, stuff like that. But I buy games knowing that I'm going to play the crap out of them over and over, whereas if it's one I'm not quite sure if I'm going to enjoy it or not, I don't really tend to splurge all that much.
Oh, I totally get that. So,
and being that I'm just now figuring out what I may want to play, it's getting a little easier to kind of figure out what kind of games I may like.
Right. I have a ton of games you could borrow. So, you're more than welcome to them.
Sounds good. Yep, and then we're of course on the site working on the top 100 favorite video game list, which I will send your guys' way if you guys care to partake.
I've mentioned it repeatedly to my guys. I think everyone on this side's just too busy. Which I get. So I I don't know. Yeah, that's what happened with Off the Cuff. It just the guys I record with, it got too hectic, and really what happened was it was kind of bums me out because I was hoping that I could keep that same. We used to record every Wednesday from 8 to 10. A little 2 hour window there, and I was hoping that we'd be able to keep that for we'd all maybe sign on and play some video games together and stream it to Twitch, and people could interact with us that way. And yeah, now we don't even get together on Wednesdays like at all. So that
kind of sucks.
That just fell apart. And then the recording software that I use to capture Skype conversations and stuff like that, just the latest release of OS 10, cry foul, it's a Macintosh. The latest release of OS 10 broke the software that I used for recording, and I didn't feel like I was going to be able to produce a quality show. So I was like, you know what, I'm not even going to try. And there was a point at the beginning of the year where we have a Facebook chat, like a group Facebook chat with me and my co-hosts, and I said, is anyone interested in putting together a show? And no one answered me. So I was like, you know what? I think that's it. I mean, you never know with us. We could be back in like next week or 6 months from now or something. But that's basically the behind the scenes of what happened with Off the Cuff. It just died. But luckily, it doesn't look like anyone misses us too much. So
yeah, I kind of miss it, but that's because I enjoyed the banter and the video game conversation. But
now I can bring that to Altered Geek.
I know. It's great.
And you can help me do something I've been wanting to do for years. So
yes.
But yeah, we can talk about that at a later date.
Yes, we can. So yeah, what kind of stuff do you want to talk about with the interwebs? I know you'd kind of brought up the net neutrality.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to
get that way.
I just wanted to throw. I like making predictions, seeing into the future, if you will.
We're good at that in this show.
As some of you may or may not know, the whole net neutrality thing went down, and basically the internet won as a whole. Comcast, can't. Your ISP can't decide what you can and cannot stream, or what gets priority on their network. And everyone's happy, and it's supposed to bolster speeds. The broadband speed's supposed to go up, prices are supposed to go down. It's going to be magic fairy dust for everybody. And see, and that's great, and that's fine. I do think that I believe the internet progress will still keep going. Progress will be made going forward. I do believe prices will come down, because what they've done is there are certain provisions in there that allow municipalities to create their own internet providers now. So, for instance, here in Genesee County, let's say that, or we can even make it more local. Like, let's say Grand Blanc, for example, wants to, they want to come up with their own fiber internet and compete with Comcast and AT&T Uverse and whoever else is in Grand Blanc. They can do that now. They can create their own fiber network and sell that to their citizens, and you don't have to have Comcast anymore. So stuff like that will make, speeds will increase, prices should go down, or at least maybe for the price that you're paying, your speed will increase. Same idea, right? The only downside to this, and that I see, is and I haven't read through all the rules and everything like this. I did skim and tried to find something with a quick Google search, and there's a provision to protect against this, but bandwidth caps. That's what I see coming.
Yeah.
Because Comcast right now, I know AT&T on their DSL service has a 250 gigabyte data cap. Uverse does not have a cap on it. Well, it has a cap, but it's not enforced. Comcast / Xfinity has a cap, but it's not enforced. If you want to see what your usage is, you can go to your Xfinity account and check it. They'll show you your last 3 months worth of usage, and it'll say like you've got 250 gigabytes, but blah 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 blah, not enforced. And I'm currently trying to click to my account so I can tell you guys how much data I've used. Anyways, I see them enforcing those. They'll start. You'll pay for a certain speed, and they'll tell you've only got 250 gigabytes. So stream all you want. Get your Netflix, get your HBO Go, your HBO Now, and they'll do what your cell phone company does, where you'll be limited to this much data, and then when you hit that, you'll be charged another $10 for 50 more gigabytes or something like that. The other thing that they could do is like what T-Mobile does with streaming music. Like streaming music doesn't count against your T-Mobile data usage on T-Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
So they could do stuff like that, where like streaming video from like Netflix, like if you have Comcast internet, Netflix doesn't count against your bandwidth. Which is something they could do. I believe one of the things I think you'll see is if you pay like I do, I pay for Comcast's fastest internet. I think the faster speed that you pay for, which means the more money you pay, you're going to end up with either a higher bandwidth cap or like unlimited data. So like, let's say they come out with like a gigabit plan. That gigabit plan is going to be like $100 a month, but it'll be unlimited data. Or you could do like 100 megabytes for $75 and get 500 gigabytes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see coming. But like I said, there's provisions that the FCC just said that if they start doing that, then they can make it so that they can't do that. I think they're going to wait and just see what Comcast and AT&T are going to do about this. But I think net neutrality is great. I don't like being told what I can and can't get over my internet. I live off the internet at my house. We do not have cable television here.
Same here. I've got a digital antenna hooked up to my TV, so I get Fox, ABC, NBC, CW, and CBS, which are the only channels I watch.
That's now at my place I have an antenna, but I could get every channel but ABC. So I decided without ABC it wasn't even worth having it hooked up. I'm going to try again when we move into our new house. But I'm also really interested in these like Sling TV. Have you heard of this?
Sling TV. That sounds familiar.
It's from Dish Network, but it's a cord cutters pack. $20 a month gets you access to live television from various networks like AMC.
Okay. I think I saw this.
Yeah, it's been making the rounds lately. It's like kind of like invite only right now. I have an invite, but my wife won't let me sign up for it. She doesn't see the point in it. But that's out there. Apple's supposed to have their streaming television service by the end of the month. Sony just launched the PlayStation Vue service, which is the most expensive of all of them. I think it was either $40 or $50. But what they do is they offer you unlimited cloud storage DVR. So because it's all internet based, you just tell them that you want to save this TV show, and they save that show in the cloud, and you can stream it to your tablet or back to your your PlayStation, which is cool. I think Apple will have something similar. It would only make sense for Apple to have something similar because then I can watch live TV on my iPad or my iPhone when I'm not at home, and stuff like that. That also kind of goes along with the whole net neutrality thing because under the way things were going, Comcast could say, we won't let you stream the Apple stuff. Like Sling TV won't work on Comcast because that competes directly with our product. But net neutrality makes it so that I can have Comcast internet, but I can pay $20 for TV from a different provider and use Comcast network to get my TV, and they can't do anything about it. So I think it's neat. The other thing I've kind of decided to do was after I move and things have died down, probably at the end of this current television season, I'm going to take a look at all the shows that I torrent and see what's available on Hulu, like compare the two.
See what you don't have to do all the work for.
Yeah, I think anything that I can get readily on Hulu, I'm going to I will stop torrenting. But because I don't know, I don't have a problem paying for stuff. It's the convenience of it all. And I started watching like a couple of shows like Backstrom and Last Man on Earth on Hulu while I was working at another theater the last 2 weekends. So I kind of got into the whole like, yeah, this is kind of nice. I get to watch these shows and I don't have to go hunt them down or set it up for my RSS feed or anything like that. So plus it's not, illegal, so I don't have to worry about getting those emails.
I don't get emails for the TV shows. It's when I tried doing other things with it that I got flagged, so I quit doing those.
I would get them. I got them for some HBO stuff.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I stopped getting it once I stopped seeding. So it would then I stopped getting those emails. So okay, so we can end the net neutrality talk here unless you have anything you want to add, but I just went to my account. So far, as of March 19th, I don't know when my bill started. Probably the 1st, right? I'm at 243 gigabytes of data.
Good thing the bandwidth cap isn't there.
Yeah, right below it says, note, enforcement of the 250 gigabyte data consumption threshold is currently suspended, which means that anytime they could
say happy birthday, you're paying the full bill.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, if I look at my last 3 months, I don't know why this one is so high, but let's see. December was 317.
Wow.
January was 285. February was 292. So, yeah.
I'm quite a bit lower than you, and I'm not quite sure why mine's so high. It's kind of mind-boggling to me. I mean, yeah, I download all my TV shows, but it's
Netflix.
Really?
Do you watch a lot of Netflix?
Yeah, well, that actually kind of makes sense because when we didn't have Netflix, it was about a fraction of this.
Now, there are, just so we can educate some people here real quick, in Netflix, there are bandwidth settings on your primary Netflix account. If you are under a bandwidth cap or you find out that they do have bandwidth caps, Netflix already took this into account with their service. You can go on their site. Oh, where is this at?
I just logged in. My Comcast for December was 172. My January was 197. and my February was 219 or 214. This month is 206.
Very nice.
Yes, I'm still under, but still, it's. Where is the bandwidth thing? Is it under playback settings, maybe?
Yes, under playback settings on Netflix. So
mine is set to auto.
Yeah, I have mine set to high, so I'll automatically get the best quality available, which, as you can see, is 3 gigabytes per hour of HD. And I also have, because I have a 4K TV, I also have access to Netflix's 4K content, which is 7 gigabytes per hour. So I watched all of House of Cards in HD, which was 13 times 7. I'm really bad at math here, people, so bear with me 1 second.
It's funny. So you have the option for high on your data usage?
Yes.
Mine's grayed out. But I'm not sure if it's what package are you paying for? Just the one screen, or are you paying?
No, I have the 4 because the 4K content's not available without the 4 package.
Okay, that's why I have the one screen. So it only lets me go up to medium as highest.
Okay, so in February when House of Cards debuted, and I said my bandwidth was like 300 gigabytes, 100 of that was me watching House of Cards.
Wow.
So yeah. So basically, if you have Netflix and you find out that your provider is putting a bandwidth cap on, you might want to go check your playback settings because they can help you still enjoy your content while not going over your bandwidth. You might have to put up with slightly fuzzier looking videos, but you won't have.
And it may help if you have issues where it says buffering constantly. I don't have that issue.
Yeah.
Since I bought my own modem.
Yeah, actually, this would help with that because you wouldn't be. Yeah, this would definitely help with that. But that's all I really want to say about net neutrality is just watch out. It's great that it's happening, but just watch out for them to start enforcing their bandwidth caps. So
yeah.
What do you got, Steve?
Well, because I've been kind of bouncing around. I had this. This isn't even news related. This is just because we're talking all of our geeky cool stuff. I have this idea. I don't know if you've seen the Nintendo that's been floating around with the Ninja Turtles.
No.
Look on it. Anyways, everybody and their cousin's been posting this. I don't know if it was a real Super or classic Nintendo or not. It's all red, and the black strip on the Nintendo is green. And there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo sticker on the top, and the controllers are also red with green and the dips in it, and then it's got like a picture of the level kind of thing for the backdrop of it. It looks really cool, and it looks like a custom job. I had this weird idea that I don't even know why I do this, but I go through these phases where I see something cool and then I want to duplicate it, but do it differently. Like I did with my Batman Beyond Return of the Joker custom figure I made. I want to buy a classic Nintendo. Does not have to work, just so that I can gut it out, I can custom the case, and then eventually build it into an emulator machine. Because I've seen tutorials where people have turned them into, like, either using the Raspberry Pi architecture for the inside, or getting a micro ATX motherboard and hooking it up that way, and having the plug with the power supply built onto that, and then having like a laptop CD drive. So that part that would flip up where you put the cartridge, that would be where the CD drive would be.
Okay.
And then they turn the front ports into USB. Like each spot is 2 USB ports, so you can make it essentially 4 USB ports. and they would wire the power or the motherboard to the buttons for the reset and the power, and then in the back they'd have the Ethernet and HDMI hookup in the back. So it was really neat what I've seen for the tutorial, and I eventually want to do that, but it would be something I'd have to like gradually do. So I'm trying to find as cheap as I can get one, a classic Nintendo, so that I can more or less gut it. Sounds kind of dumb, but
no, I'm just trying to. I think you might be able to. I know Joe is trimming down his video game collection. He might.
I'm just trying to find one that doesn't work because I feel bad ripping apart one that actually does.
He might have one that doesn't work. I don't know. It's always worth a shot.
But that's the idea I have at this point. I mean, I know I can get them for like $20 on eBay. I was just hoping maybe I can find one at a garage sale or something, or at a flea market for like $10-12.
Right.
Because I mean, it's mostly just a side project I'm going to be doing. I'm going to basically get like like maybe make an altered Geek sticker or something and put it on top and custom the case. But yeah, that's also the other thing I've been running around trying to find over the past week, just kind of searching to kind of get pricing ideas. I came to the conclusion the Raspberry Pi would be too complicated for my thought process on programming it, so I figured building a custom mini PC into it.
I wish I could build PCs. I mean, I can, but whenever I go to try and price one out, I always price myself out of building one. But like 80% of the time, I don't even get past picking out a case because I get stuck.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
I get stuck right there because I'm like, I want to find something that looks nice because I'm like, I'm borderline form over function to the most part. I mean, I like my stuff to work, but I will try and find the thing that works the way I want it to, but also looks the way that I want it to. Like, I will find that perfect mix of form and function, not form over function. And I'm also willing to pay a little more for form and function. And so whenever I'm thinking about, I will build my own, gaming PC, and then I go, okay, but this is what I want it to do. I want it to sit under me. I want it to hook it to my TV, and I want it to sit in my entertainment center with everything else. And that's where I get stuck because I'm like looking for a case that can fit like, a graphics card and a decent CPU and all this stuff. And then I'm like, all this stuff looks like ass.
Yeah, I used to have cases where you could actually see with like a window into them,
Mm-hmm.
and had the neon lighting and all that kind of stuff. I eventually moved to just having a straight black case with silver highlights on it, which is what I have now. And I think the case only cost me maybe $30, which is surprising because the one thing I had to have was USB in the front.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a micro, maybe it is a micro ATX. I don't know, or I'm not exactly sure anymore. It's got about three full-size drive bays in it with the spot that would normally fit a floppy or a SD slot for stuff. I was trying to find something that I could build my PC in and not have it tower over everything, more or less.
Right.
But it also gives me room to grow if I need to. But I've also come to the conclusion certain video cards don't fit in the case because it's small.
Yeah.
Because my brother gave me an upgrade for the one that I have, and couldn't fit it in the case because it was bumping into the drive bays. I mean, I could trim the drive bays, like the one of the extra ones that is below my burner.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'd be cutting my interior of my case should I decide to add another hard drive or something to it later.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have the brackets for it, and so I figure I can always, if I want to upgrade the video card, like, because I mean the one I have is probably 6 years old, but it still works. So I figured why. I can still play all my games with it, so it doesn't really matter. So I'll eventually get a new one. It's just, and I can buy one for like $40. That's probably 3 times better than what I have.
Right. See, that's, I mean, that's what I totally get where you're coming from with that. Like, I don't know. Whenever I just sit down to, I guess, like, I get hung up. That's one of the reasons why I do the whole console gaming thing, is because they make really cool looking. They fit a lot of hardware.
A lot of awesome stuff and a nice looking package.
Yeah, and that's kind of like when I'm looking to build a computer, I want to build something that's like comparable to that, but I also want the benefits of making a PC, which is you can upgrade it at will, and that's, I'm not going to get that. Like that does not exist. That is form over function, or function over form. There is no mixture of both.
See, and I think that's kind of, and that's kind of the idea I was thinking of because I saw that Ninja Turtle Nintendo, and I was thinking, that would be really cool to make like a little mini PC gaming console for that would fit in my entertainment center.
Mm-hmm.
And I could hook up my Xbox 360 USB controllers too.
Yep.
And play, whether it's emulated games, or I could play, because I would want to build it so that I could hook it up to my TV with HDMI.
Yep. And
I could either do Netflix through it, or I could do, surf the internet, have a, like a wireless keyboard or mouse hooked up to it, or have controllers hooked up to it. Basically like what the current gen consoles would do, except it would actually be a PC.
See, that's one of the things I'm keeping my eye on. And yeah, I get, even thinking about it myself, I kind of laugh a little bit about it, but I am going to keep my eye on the Steam machines that are coming this fall. Because, Alienware is getting in the mix, and some other people, and they're supposed to be comparable to, like, the casing and pricing is supposed to start out comparable to, the current console generation. But they'll basically run, the Steam OS, and you'll have access to all the Steam content, which, let's face it, if you're a PC gamer, you're getting stuff from Steam anyways, right? For the most part. So like I'm kind of like I'm going to look for the one that I think will meet my needs. But at the end of the day, that's the other thing about PC gaming, is just me. Like, I know I'm going to tinker and futz with settings and drivers. Like, it'll almost be like I'll never be playing a game, because I'll always be futzing around with like the graphical settings in said game to make it run like perfectly. Then that is another reason why I like the consoles, because I can't do any of that stuff. Like, how it's going to play is how it's going to play, and I have no control over that stuff. But that allows me to just jump in and start enjoying it.
Yeah, so. I like to jump in and enjoy them. I just, a lot of times, I like to tinker a little bit, but as long as it's doing what I need it to do, I don't really deviate from my set form of settings.
So I feel like if I was playing a PC game, and there is no doubt in my mind that if I was playing a PC game and I saw the frame rate drop, because I'd rather have like slightly less graphical prowess, like maybe my textures are a little muddier or whatever, but I'd rather have a solid frame rate, whether it's 30 frames or 60 frames. But I have a feeling like once I saw the frame rate drop in a game, that would be it. Like, I would be tinkering, like adjusting graphical sliders, trying to get it to run at a stable 60 frames a second, and that is just a rabbit hole that I do not want to chase. Because I know that, because that's what I do with anything. Like, we were talking last week about how I'm more aware of what I'm watching movies and TV shows on than I am watching said TV show. Like I'm watching the local dimming on my TV go in and out during dark scenes and light scenes, and when I'm at the movie theater I'm looking for, like, yes, sometimes I do get lost, but like when the movie's like first starting up, I see all the pixels on the screen and I'm like, oh, this looks horrible. um and I feel like that. I totally forgot where I was going. Crap. Anyways, yeah, it's that thing. I feel like the minute I saw that, yeah, it's like when I'm watching a movie and I see something that looks off to me, I will stop the movie and I will start tinkering with the settings on my TV to try and fix it. And I know that exact same thing would happen if I had, a game, a computer, and it didn't do what I wanted. I would immediately stop and try and make it do what I wanted. And I can't do that on a console.
We could bring up Flash briefly.
Sure.
And then call it good.
Sure. Let's talk Flash.
Okay. Oh, so this week
Spoilers?
Yes, we must say spoilers. They revealed who actually is the Reverse Flash, which, they kind of hinted at before, and then, it was kind of almost to the point of obvious at points before they even showed that, so.
I was disappointed. Kinda. Like, I wanted him to be the Flash from the future. Like, I wanted the whole thing to be he's Future Flash and he's trying to save, like, something happened to him that he's trying to make sure doesn't happen by helping his younger self, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was hoping was going to happen. It slowly became more and more not going to be that. Like, even after they showed off, like, that Wells has the yellow suit, I still was like, who says the Flash doesn't have a yellow suit in the future? Like, who, like, and, but that did not prove to be the case.
Yeah, and they revealed it to be, obviously Harrison Wells, but that's just like the John Harrison name in Into Darkness. It's a fake name, Eobard Thawne, which is like what, the 25th century Flash or a Reverse Flash.
Yes.
And I love how Cisco's the only one that figures this out.
Yeah. Well, okay. I was trying to talk about this before the show, before we started recording, but now I can go into it a little bit more. Like, if I had known what this episode was, I would have waited to watch this until after next week's episode came out. Because what they did is they took the long game that a lot of shows that have done the exact same thing, they will do in like 45 minutes. But they've taken the long game to it, which should make the next episode a lot more fun. It's the same. They did the same thing where a lot of shows that deal with time travel, they'll set up a number of things that happen in like the first, like in the cold open of a TV show in like the first 10-15 minutes, and then the next 30 minutes will be like rehashing those moments, but like slightly different, so they can show you that the character's making different decisions and how that impacts the rest of the show. What they did here is it was one long 45-minute episode of decisions that Barry is now going to get to make all the quote-unquote right decisions in the next episode, which essentially undoes everything that we saw in this episode. which is going to be kind of weird, right? Because there will be a point where everyone will have known what was going on.
And now Barry's the only one that knows.
But he doesn't know about Thawne, and it'll be interesting to see the way things play out. And honestly,
he doesn't know about Thawne or Cisco dying.
No, nope. So it'll be interesting to see how his decisions now are changed and what he does differently going into the next episode. So,
well, I mean, one of the major changes is the fact that Eddie gets pissed sooner at him and slugs him in the face in the preview. Two, Barry will be able to stop the weather wizard a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Knowing what's going to happen later. And, with Cisco being alive now, that means that the rogues can beat the crap out of him until they get the information they want. Which is his name. So.
Yep. So I'm trying to think. I have been racking my brain this entire time. I just watched a show that did the exact same thing with time, and I cannot remember what it was. But maybe if there are listeners, maybe they can help drum up other shows that have done the same thing, where they set up a series of events in the first 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and then they spend the rest of the show like undoing that and navigating, kind of like this is not it, but this is a perfect example. Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise.
Okay.
They set up a timeline, and then that timeline resets, and you get to see all the different decisions and how he learns from doing that. A lot of TV shows that deal with time travel have taken that exact same premise because it makes it really easy and really fun for the viewer to follow along and see all the different changes that occur. I just cannot remember what this was. But whatever. It was a fun episode. I kind of got over, like, I don't want to say overhyped. I remember like some people were talking about it on Twitter how like awesome it was, and usually when that happens, I tend to when something gets hyped to me, I tend to watch it with a more critical eye than if I just sat down to watch it myself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, okay, what you sit down and go, okay, what about this possibly makes it, awesome, instead of just, another good Flash episode. That said, there were things about this episode that I didn't really care for, like Gotham level stuff.
Yeah.
The whole scene in the police department when the weather wizard comes in and confronts Detective West,
and then just electrocutes his boss,
but nobody bothers to like
shoot
him or confront him before. Not to mention that they leave the stupid wand out on like a table in the lobby. Like that kind of and that's what I'm talking about. Like if this show hadn't been quote unquote hyped up to me by various friends, and keep in mind this is just people saying, no, nothing was spoiled for me. People are just saying another awesome episode of Flash. If that hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't have been watching with such a critical eye. But the scene in the police station just stuck out for me because it's kind of a similar scene that happened in Gotham, which completely blew my mind. Where, you know what I'm talking about, where Zaz comes into the police precinct to get Gordon.
Yeah, and everybody just disappears.
Yeah, right. So it was kind of that same thing all over again. I was like, oh, good Lord. So, but I had fun. I thought it was good, but I think Flash is good in general. I don't think this is like better or worse. We knew a time travel episode was coming. I'm glad they didn't try to cram it all into 45 minutes like most shows would. But yeah, it was good. I'm not trying to like blast or anything. It was good. I just don't. I think people just get really excited when they see a solid take on like a superhero thing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they do from here on out, but
I still think the show rests solely on how well they pull off Grodd.
from the looks of it, Grodd is coming soon, and Trickster.
That's fine. I'm excited to see Trickster.
Mark Hamill's and the other one.
Yep.
And I love how they use for the newspaper and footage. They use the '90s show in the teaser.
See,
it's got Hamill in the leotards and.
See, I don't. When I watch the shows, I never watch the next time on. Like, I never see any of that stuff. I always stop it like right before they do that.
Well, if I catch it live, I watch it. But if it's torrented, obviously I never see it.
I just can't. I don't want. I want it to always be a surprise because, first of all, I know that it's like they're going to do the next time on this, and then, excuse me, when you go to watch the next episode, it's going to be last time on, and it's going to be like, oh gosh, just get on with it. I don't want two. I just want one. I just need the last time on. I don't need the next time on part. Plus, I like it to be a little bit of a surprise. Because sometimes they can spoil, like, the best parts.
True. Yeah, they do give away quite a bit. Like, I kind of felt bad that I watched the next time on, which showed Cisco being interrogated by Captain Cold.
Now, see, I think, I was...
that threw me for a loop.
One of the guys I follow on Twitter, he watched the episode and he said all he tweeted was Cisco no, and I'm pretty sure that was in reference to either the end of this recent episode or the next time on part. So yeah, we'll see. I'm enjoying the show way more than like, man, I'm tired. More than like Shield or anything like that. So
yeah, I am enjoying that. This is one of my favorite ones right now. But
that said, before I forget, I want to give a little shout out. I'm pretty sure some of our followers maybe have seen people gush about this TV show on Twitter. If you haven't and you enjoy comedies, I highly recommend Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix. It is a fantastic sitcom. Actually, are those called sitcoms? Like stuff like Modern Family and stuff? Or are they just comedies?
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I see like, Last Man Standing is a sitcom.
Yeah, that's definitely a sitcom. But I don't know what those are because they don't have the laugh track.
Yeah. Or are they just all the same thing and we're just overthinking this? Anyways, it's a comedy. Excuse me. It's a 30-minute comedy. It's from Tina Fey. It was originally supposed to be on NBC, but they passed on it, and Netflix gave it a 2-season order. And the first episodes are up on Netflix. It's pretty funny. The premise is kind of dark, but the show is funnier for it. Without spoiling anything, that's all I can really say about it. So
okay,
I highly recommend that.
Sounds good. So with that, I think we can end the show this week on that note.
Try to be more coherent next week.
Yeah, we'll try that. Yeah, yeah. It was just kind of one of those trying to go back to basics, more or less, which I think kind of succeeded.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe this week I'll take it personally.
Yeah. That means you. Great comments. So yeah. So if you have any thoughts on the net neutrality thing, or on some video games that you're playing, or the custom box, whether it be PC or the Nintendo case, or just anything in general of that you may have thought of doing or have done, post it in the comments. Give us something to talk about.
Yes.
And then next week we'll actually cover part of this week's comments and include them together.
Actually, what I think we should do is just have you guys ask just random questions. I know we ask this all the time. Just throw in some random questions, and we'll save them all up for a rainy day question and answer show.
That'll be fun.
We'll see how many we can get. So fire away. Doesn't matter what it is. If you want our opinion on something, ask it.
Yes. So with that, you can get into hold of us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. You can get a hold of us on the website, geekcastradio.com, and reply on the episode post. You can get hold of us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio, #AlteredGeek. My Twitter handle is at SCP21, and yours is, sir?
At Boothninja81.
So, as always, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.
Bye.